Okay, ready to have some fun this afternoon or whatever time it is when you're watching this? Quick review. C is to the left of the two black keys. Yay. You go up here and there's another one. Vibrates twice as fast. Let's go find one more. Okay, and maybe way down here. Just so we can say we did. Okay, this is where it gets fun. We played a C major scale, and as time goes by, you'll know more what major means, how it exists in the musical firmament. But for now, we're just going to say that's a C note, that's a C note, and we saw how you can number those keys instead of using note names. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now we're going to point out here that we're naming those keys, those numbers, and for our purposes, we're playing all on the white keys. We can refer to those keys by their number, and it'll always mean the same thing. My hand's shaking, but so let's take the first step into making chords and seeing how they work. This is fun, and I'm going to introduce a new term. I made the decision to use this term because it just really identifies what we're talking about. Here's the term triad, T-R-I-A-D, triad. And we're going to learn about triads here, and we're going to use our numbered keys that we identified. And it's mostly going to be just inside of one octave, mostly, yes. So here's how to make a triad, and here's where it gets kind of mind-blowing. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. What if we took the 1, the 3, and the 5? 1, 3, 5. That's 3 notes. That's a triad. As it turns out, it's a C major triad. Don't have to understand all that. Just hear the words and kind of get used to the idea. Okay, 1, 3, 5. We have our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, let's play those together. Okay, does that sound like a chord to you? Like maybe even a major chord? Well, it is. A triad is a chord. It's the simplest form of a chord because we have 3 different notes and they all work together to make up the chord. Now there's chords that aren't triads, but all triads are chords. That makes sense? Okay, my leg's getting kind of sore here. I'm going to lean back and get comfortable. There we go. So we have our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. What if we just memorize this pattern, this 1, 3, 5, and what if we moved up the scale, playing each numbered note with our thumb and the 2 hangers-on fingers there? Does that make sense? Okay, so that would be a 1. Let's call that a 1 chord, okay? That's a 1 chord because that's a 1 key. Now, what if we played a 2 chord? What if we put our thumb there and moved our fingers right along for the ride there? Oh my God. Sounds like a minor chord to me. How about you? So you might ask yourself, well, we just used 1 and 2. What if we went on up the scale, counting the numbered keys, putting our thumb on the numbered keys, and keeping this position? We have every other, see, that's not how I would play it, but that we have every other. Okay, you get the idea. You're smart. So let's listen. I'm just going to go on up the scale, and hopefully a major light bulb will go on, although it may still be halfway covered up. But here we go. Here we go. And 1 again. Wow, we just played a harmonized major scale with triads. So the harmonized part is the relationship between the 3 notes. They're different notes. They're 1, 3, and 5. 1, 3, and 5. But when we move, admittedly, we arrive at this pattern that way. But when we move on up, I mean, if you want to get technical, you could say 2, 4, 6, 3, 5, 7. You get what I'm doing. But you don't really have to think of all those numbers. All you have to do is have this pattern memorized and get used to placing your thumb where you want to hear a certain chord. Now I'm going to, hopefully, really, this will be the mind blower of the day. Now, if you're Bob Dylan sitting there at the piano late one night, drinking, what would Bob Dylan drink? Whiskey? I don't know. I can hear him saying whiskey. And you're going to write one of your masterpieces, and you go, oh, man, I don't know, man. I'm kind of tired. It's kind of late. And so you just go, they say every man needs protection. They say every man must fall. Wow. So I swear I see my reflection somewhere so high above the wall. So, wow, that's kind of a musical bit of knowledge there. You can move those chords around by paying attention where you put your thumb, or just by listening what it sounds like. And almost every chord progression is found on the major scale by doing that. And I'm going to point something else out. These triads, okay, for reasons I won't go into today, but maybe you can hear the quality of them and kind of get it. That's a major, okay? That's the upbeat kind of major sound. Now, if I was to turn that into a minor right now, I mean, that sounds like a minor chord, right? But we can find minor chords in this harmonized C major scale just by moving up. So let's watch this. Major, minor, minor, major, major, minor. And this is a weirdo here. This is a half diminished. And you pretty much can forget about that for the time being too, even though it's got many uses. And then back to the major. So we basically, in this harmonized scale where we put our thumb on each numbered key and play out this pattern, I'm going to go ahead and tell you what the chord names are, because knowing how to play chords on a guitar based on their letter name, like a D minor and an A minor and a G and That gives you a frame of reference already. So this will just make it more amazing, I think. C major, D minor. Notice it's following the alphabet. So this would be an E minor, F, G, A minor. How about that? And there's our weird B half diminished, which is the stepchild of the day. And back to C. So you might guess here that you have a C chord there. You have a C chord there, an octave apart, okay? Now it gets really fun after this, but I'm gonna save some of that for next time. But I'm not done yet. You know how a lot of songs might be in the key of C, and they have like a CF and a G7, like You Are My Sunshine. I'll do a very simple rhythm pattern with my fingers and illustrate how that song and any other song with 3 chords in it, and I'll illustrate an A minor key in a second just to show you how awesome this is. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me, go to the 4 chord, happy when skies are gray. Notice I'm calling out the number name that corresponds to where your thumb goes. You'll never, 4 chord, no dear. And notice the 4 chord is to the left of the 3 keys there. So that helps you find that. No dear, how much I love you, see. Please don't take. Now the 5 chord, my sunshine away. So the 1 chord is the C major. The 4 chord is the F major. The 5 chord is the G major. Okay, so now I'm going to show you a couple of other familiar chord patterns using those chords, okay? Got to think about what I'm doing here for a second. Okay, I'm going up to the 6 triad. It's, excuse me, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whoops, I did that wrong. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so if we put our thumb there and do that every other key pattern, we have, I'm going to tell you, there's no reason not to. That's an A minor, okay? So if we were going to play a little bit of, I don't know, All Along the Watchtower, we would, there must be some way out of here, said the joker to the thief. There's too much confusion. Whoops. I can get no relief. So at this stage of the game, and this takes in a whole lot of what is underneath the surface of music. This takes in a lot. You can say, play a 1 chord in C. So we're starting with C. And that's all we're going to worry about right now. Who cares about the other keys right now? Check this out. One more Dylan illustration, and then we'll let that sink in for the next week. Well, once upon a time, you dressed so fine, threw the bums a dime in your prime. And didn't you? People call, say, beware, doll, you're bound to fall. You thought that they were all kidding you. 4 chord. You used to be so amused. Language and the language that I use. Okay, watch this. 4. Now you don't seem so proud. Now you don't talk so loud. Having to be scrounging for your next meal. How does it feel? How does it feel? So, 2 Dylan songs, 2 of the really good ones that we love to sing, are all based on this information. And just a quick review. It's about putting your thumb on the numbered key, which becomes the name of the key, whether you use the letter, whether you say C major or 1 major, whether you say F major or 4 major. You know, not learning you will want to learn the letter names just to tie up the distance between the guitar and piano. You can use the number system on a guitar too, big time. I do it all the time. But it's just laid out so nicely on a keyboard. You know what I mean? But I know you like minor keys and stuff, and it's just all here. So you can play around all day with that, and you'll find that a lot of songs, fit within that framework. It does go outside of that, but if you know this, you're good for about 80%, especially stuff like what Dylan does and whatnot. So that's it. That's it for today.